I don't know about you, but the countdown music gets it going every time. What's up? Happy Monday. Welcome, everyone. And Danielle and I are ready to kick this party off with a bang. Happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, depending where in the world you're viewing from. I already saw we have people from around the globe here. So thank you to those who got up early. Thank you to those who stayed up late. And for you guys that just so happen to be on Eastern time, I guess you guys are the lucky ones. We're happy to have you here too. So for those of you that are just getting to know myself and Danielle, we together run Kelly Roach Coaching, which is an 8-figure coaching and consulting organization. I'm the founder and CEO. Danielle is our genius behind the brand, the CMO of our organization. And we have helped hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs create 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses online. Now, I don't know about you, Danielle, but I think being that you have built your own successful company, I've built multiple companies, and now we both have dedicated our lives to helping other people build successful companies. There is nothing more fulfilling, and there is no more victorious moment in your life than the moment that you can take home an income from changing the world, right? And there is nothing more empowering. We all know how to make money. You can have a job. There's lots of ways that you can make money. There's an abundance and an endless stream of opportunity from a money-making perspective. But we know that you're here this week with us because you not only want to get your business over that hump to where you can pay the bills, you can take home a great income, you can be the breadwinner of your family, but you can do it while making a difference in the world, changing people's lives as a service provider in your own unique way. And so we know, Danielle and I know that you have been working hard, you have been investing your time, your energy, and your money to build and grow your own business. And we know you're ready to leap from 1 or 2 clients or a handful of clients over here into running your own highly successful multi-6 or even 7-figure business. And the workshop that we are delivering over the next couple of days to you is to really help you to understand that in order to build a successful multiple 6-figure business, you don't need to do everything. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be everything to everyone. There's only a really small handful of things that you have to do and do really well in order to go from struggling and hustling without seeing the big reward to flipping that switch and almost instantly leaping to becoming a multiple 6-figure business owner. So Danielle, I'll toss it over to you. If you guys can't tell, I'm super fired up for this week because this is something that is so near and dear to both Danielle and I's hearts. We're just really excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So if you're joining us, there's a couple things I want you guys to know before we dive in, because we actually have a lot of content to cover today. Number one, everyone who is joining us for this workshop actually is a member of our team that they can speak to, ask questions to, get information from, links, whatever you want. So if you are not sure, we call that a concierge. If you're not sure who your concierge is, you can just leave a comment. Even if you're watching the replay, I know a lot of you come back and watch the replay. Feel free to come back and comment during the replay. You need a concierge. Your concierge will reach out to you and connect with you. That's number one. Number two, we have a workbook today. I don't print my workbook. I don't know if you did. I use my phone for my workbook. But we do have a workbook for you guys to use as we go through this. I am going to just preface today with, we both talk fast. We have a lot to share. So there are lots of opportunities to catch up. If you miss something, you don't get a point right away. But this workshop is designed to help those of you who are either in the new stages of starting your business or you've sort of reached that point, which I want to just sort of normalize for you. This happens to a lot of people. They start their business and they use their current contacts, the people in their ecosystem. They have this sort of warm audience built up just because they have lived life and they know people. And so they make a lot of sales in the beginning, they start working, and then all of a sudden they're like, I don't know what to do. They run out of those warm market people and they aren't quite sure how to continue growing. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of people give up. They stress out. They're like, I can't do this. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, there are so few things required to get over that hump. I think a lot of times we think there's like 8 million trillion different things that happen and you need to do all of them, when in fact there's 2 or 3 that if you implemented consistently, you would quickly not only get over that hump, but be able to continue scaling. So that's what this workshop is going to be about. We want to kind of demystify this process There's a lot out there online. So a couple things you need to know about us. Number one, we are not going to give you the tactical things that change week to week. There are things that are out there on the internet that will inevitably change before we get off this live stream. That's not what we're focused on. We are going to give you the timeless business principles that drive growth, regardless of what platform is new and hot, regardless of what you have at your disposal. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're going to help you do this organically at first, because we know that while we love ads, we run lots of ads. Kelly started running ads really early in her business. That when you're starting, you need to learn how to do the organic lead generation and organic sales before you can start running ads. So we're going to walk you through that whole process. Number three, you can do this in just a little bit of time every day. We know that many of you, especially when you're in that first, 2 to 5K a month, you're still working a job. Maybe you still have other responsibilities. You're not completely full-time in your business. So we're going to give you strategies that can be implemented in an hour to 3 hours a day, so that you can actually continue to grow your business to a point where you can leave your full-time job. Kelly's going to share a story. We're not these people who are like, burn the boats, leave everything. We don't want you running your business from a place of scarcity, and we understand that you need some financial stability. So that's the approach we're taking as we share. We're going to dive into some really timeless business principles that are really leveraged in today's online world. But we want you to know that even if you're like, gosh, I'm too early in my business, I'm still working my 9 to 5, I don't have a lot of time, this is still for you.
Absolutely. And if a member of Team Unstoppable could go ahead and post a link to the workbook again in the chat, that would be fantastic. I saw that some of you are looking for that there. And this is a workshop where you definitely want to have that printed out. I know Danielle cheats and puts it on her phone. Shame on you, Danielle. Yeah, but that's because she knows the content. Okay. We're going to cover a lot over the next couple of days. So you're going to want to take notes, because you're going to actually utilize the material that we're sharing when you get done the workshop to go back and implement. So it's going to be really important that you go ahead and print that out. You can see that the link was just placed in the chat there for you by members of Team Unstoppable. And as Danielle mentioned, one of the huge benefits that we give as a thank you for being a part of these workshops is that you do have a live concierge. We don't have live concierges in every launch. If you participated in the last couple that we did, our team was off working on other projects. They're here for you this week. I would recommend you take full advantage of them, because they are here to serve. They're here to answer your questions, and they are absolute experts on the stuff that we're teaching here. And just before we go ahead and dig in, one of the things that I want to share is a little bit about the way that we designed this material. So as you know, our organization is an 8-figure consultancy, and we help people build and grow their businesses. But that's not where we started. I actually started my career in a Fortune 500 firm, worked my way up from an entry-level job, and ended up, in a senior vice president role where I was managing 17 locations, and I had a team of about 100 people. And I was the breadwinner of my family, and I was just starting a family. And my husband and I had decided that, we wanted to have him home with my daughter. We didn't want to put her in daycare. And so when I was beginning my business, I was building my company on the side of my corporate job. And that's really important for you all to understand, because it wasn't just a clock in and clock out job. It was actually a very high stakes executive position where I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. Now, why does this matter to you? It matters to you because the material that we've designed that we're delivering in this workshop is specifically based on the foundational elements of what you can do in an hour to 3 hours a day. And it's exactly what I did to build my business to the $1 million mark while I was still working full time. I'm going to repeat that again. For all of the stories and excuses and or limitations that you may feel are holding you back, what we are teaching you is the exact formula that I used to build my business to $1 million in revenue while working full time. It can be done in an hour to 3 hours a day. And what Danielle is really going to do is, in just a moment, she's going to do a lot of myth busting and clarifying for you. Because the biggest thing that motivated me when I wanted to start this company was that I saw that 85% of businesses were failing in their first couple years. And my observation was that many individuals start businesses with this massive passion. They want to change the world. They want freedom. They want to be able to create generational change. They want, open-ended income, all of those great things, all of the right desires, all of the right motivators. And the problem is that although you can have an idea that you're really passionate about and you've a great talent or skill that you have to bring to the world, if you don't have a business background, business acumen, business training, you focus very easily on a lot of tactical things, as Danielle mentioned already, that are very transient. And, what we see happening in the online space, and it's way worse today than when I started my business 10 years ago. So it's very different. It's 1,000 times worse now. The messaging that you're seeing and hearing online is really magnetizing new entrepreneurs towards very tactical things that by the time you learn them, they're no longer applicable. And there's so many business owners that are failing in their businesses because they're trying to implement these tactics that they're learning online. And then by the time they actually master that tactic, it's no longer relevant. So what we're going to focus on with you here today is the core timeless strategies that I use to build my business to $1 million in revenue while working full time that have not changed. They are the same things that we teach in all of our core programming to our clients inside our high ticket coaching and consulting programming. They are the core things that absolutely unequivocally have not changed over the last 10 years. And they are still the most potent, powerful, and fast moving strategies that are going to leap your business to the multiple six-figure mark. And you can do it very, very quickly with a focus on these areas. So first, we need to kind of clear the decks, right? We need to walk you through what you don't need to be spending your time on and what is not serving you. And then we need to focus on, well, what do you need to be spending your time on? And what are the 3 or 4 things, which I will walk you through, that you absolutely need to be doing on a consistent basis in order to make these very quick leaps in your business. Okay. The final thing I want to cover before I toss it back to Danielle and she kind of starts walking you guys through this is the schedule. So we're going to be here. We have a session at 11:30, which you are on right now, and 7 this evening. We have another session tomorrow, 11:30, and then 7 in the evening. Okay. And then we're going to have some bonus sessions coming up all through the rest of this week for you guys. But these 4 sessions you absolutely cannot miss. So if for any reason you're going to miss one of these sessions, make sure that you're in a conversation with your concierge, that they send you the replay, but try to be here live. It's kind of like you don't get the full experience watching the concert, on your phone afterwards that you have if you're actually in the audience when it's happening. It's kind of like that. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure at least those core 4 sessions that you're here, and we're going to be announcing some bonuses and some follow-up over the next couple of days as well. Danielle, toss it back to you.
All right. So today's session is the secret to consistent 5-figure months and why so many people get stuck. So before we share this secret, and it's not really a big secret, but it feels like a secret with all of the stuff that's out there in the world today, I'm going to go through all of the things that people get stuck on. And just to give you some background, we have worked with hundreds at this point, hundreds, maybe even, I don't know, we might even be close to thousands. I don't know. Of entrepreneurs across industries. So that we don't work with like just one type of entrepreneur. We work with people in a number of industries, from coaches to doctors to lawyers to accountants to literally everything in between, agency owners. So what I'm going to share with you, these are things that are general across industries. We work with people at beginning stages of business all the way up to some of our clients are over $10 million a year in revenue. So again, these are things that trip almost everyone up, specifically as they're getting started. But this is not going to be specific to an industry or a niche. This is a general kind of, hey, you're going to get stuck here. Pay attention. So I want everyone to commit. Let me know in the comments while you are going to commit today to saying no to these things, no matter how shiny and wonderful and exciting they look. So let me know that you're committing to focus only on what matters and you're saying no to everything else. Okay. So what keeps people stuck? Get your pen out. I'm going to give you some things to write down. So the first thing that keeps people stuck is they tend to start building things before they're ready. So a few examples, okay? Funnels. I want to build a funnel. I have no offer. I have no audience. I have no message. I am going to build a funnel that makes me $1 million. And there are people on the internet who will tell you that you are one funnel away from hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. And then you will spend your time learning how to build this funnel, which let me tell you, as someone who has personally tried to build one myself, it's not easy. And here's what most people don't have when they're building their magical funnel that will make them millions of dollars. What most people don't have is an audience. What most people don't have are people to go through the funnel. What most people don't have is an offer that their audience actually wants. And so you might have a beautiful funnel that costs you 800 hours of your labor and probably a little bit of your mental sanity, because it will require some of that to build. But you won't have any people to sell to, and you won't have anything really valuable to sell. I cannot tell you, I was a copywriter. My business was copywriting. I worked for so many, and actually I stopped doing it eventually because I just couldn't handle like the disappointment people had. People would come to me wanting to pay thousands of dollars for copy, for funnels or sales pages, for products that I knew would not sell. And I would tell them, hey, I think this offer really isn't great. I had to turn so many people away who were ready to give me their money because their offer wasn't good enough. And what makes me even sadder is I know that so many of them went to another copywriter who did the work for them. And I know that many of them sold zero. And so they lost that money. Not to mention, I know people who spent thousands of dollars building a funnel that never converted, because they didn't have the foundation in place, or they didn't have the audience to actually get through the funnel. So the first thing that is so critical that holds people back is looking for this sort of magical bullet. A funnel is not going to be what you build your business on. Okay. Now I do want to talk, we will talk later about building a sales funnel, a pipeline of leads. That's very different than thinking you are going to throw together some funnel that magically generates thousands and thousands of dollars a day. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, this is my favorite. This also comes from my years of working with people as a copywriter. And we have lots of clients who come to us in this stage. They are so excited about their content and they love what they do. And they spend weeks putting together a course. They record, they get a video production crew, they build all of this stuff out. They pay hundreds of dollars a month to house it in a website, and they have zero people to sell it to. Not only that, they price their course at a price point where even if they sold it to thousands of people, it would still yield very little profit because they don't understand pricing versus volume versus audience. And so people say this, I'm just going to put together this course. Everybody will want it because I love it. And I am going to make all of this money. And what happens? They make no money. They lose money and they think there's something wrong with them. Here's the deal. It's so common. And the reason we're going through these before we tell you what to actually focus on is because these are trends we see in hundreds of people. So if you've made these mistakes, you are not the only one. It is normal. You are actually just, it's the world we live in. Everyone is telling you this is easy. Go on TikTok for 10 minutes and everyone will tell you that you can build a funnel or a course and you can magically make thousands, if not millions of dollars just by doing that and posting one TikTok a day. The truth is that that's not really what it's about. So that's number two. Number three, Kelly, this might be your favorite. I don't have as much of a hate for this one as you do, but get so stuck. And I'm going to qualify this. We have an agency that does this. So I'm just going to put this out there. People get so stuck building websites that cost $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, thinking that their website. Now, again, we have an agency that builds websites. So I want to just say this is not a biased discussion of a website. Do I think websites are great? Yes. Do I think a website when you have no clients is going to be the catalyst to your business's growth? Absolutely not. Kelly, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Oh, I have so many thoughts. I'm going to try to keep the discussion on track though. But I mean, one of the biggest things that I'll say is as I was building my business, I would always survey my customers and ask them if they had ever been to my website. And I was working full time while I built my business. So I could afford to invest in ad. I could afford to hire. I could afford to build a website because I was working as an executive. So I had income coming in, so I did build a website, but I did not get stuck in building a website. I'll talk more about that as we go through the workshop. But I surveyed my first 50 customers and not a single one of them had ever been to my website. So if you understand, and I sell high ticket, very high ticket consulting. And when I started my business, I was doing one-to-one high ticket. So we're talking high ticket, right? And not a single one of these people had ever visited my website. They had gone directly, and I'm gonna walk you through the entire ecosystem and how this whole model works. But they had went directly from social media to consultation to close. Okay. And so I remember as I was working full time, and this is an important mindset shift for you guys, but I had always had in the back of my mind, like this fear, or I had felt this anxiety that, am I ever going to be successful at this business if I'm working full time and I only have a few hours a week to build my business? Now, one of the smartest things that I ever did was I invested in joining a coaching program from day one. It was the first, people always ask me, what was the first thing that you did when you were building your business? The first thing that I did was I hired a coach. I joined a coaching program. And I remember going through the coaching program, and after my first year, my business really started to take off. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, okay, this is working. This is real now. Okay. And I remember being in this program with the same group of people that were all working full time in their businesses. And here I was still doing my little hour a day out in my Jeep on my lunch break, making calls and all of these things. And I saw that many of them, to your point, Danielle, we were 6 months, 9 months, a year into the program. And these people were still talking about their niche, their website, and their funnels. And I'm like, wow. So no business to be found, no money coming and going here. There's no money. There's no money. So they're complaining about their struggle and why their business isn't growing. And they're stuck on these exact things that you're talking about. And even more so. So we're talking now, I started my business in 2012. People weren't going to my website in 2012. You better believe that fast forward to today, the reason why we build websites in the Conviction Marketing Agency now is that we work with 7 and 8 figure business owners that are using their websites for SEO. So they are sending paid traffic. It's a totally different strategy that you don't even need to think about until you're already running a 7-figure business. But if you are someone that is in this session today and you are looking to, boom, in 90 days or less, get your business from maybe $2,000 or $5,000 a month to $15,000 to $20,000 a month, that's something that should not even be on your radar, because no one is going to be paying attention to that anyway. It's not until you start doing aggressive SEO and very aggressive outbound PR and high level media that you really even need that in your business. There's a place and a space for everything as you grow. And as Danielle said, it's not that we're for or against any of these strategies. It's understanding when you're at this level, what do you need to be focused on? I saw the question come in the chat multiple times, so I just want to answer this really quickly. No, the sessions are completely different. So each of the 4 sessions are building on one another, and they're each completely different. So you definitely want to attend all 4 sessions, because each one builds on the last one and they're covering completely different things.
Yeah. And I'll just throw in there that my daughter is a photographer. And so, it's for a photographer, do you need a website? Yes. Most people that book her, though, find her on Instagram.
Yep.
Most people that will pay her large amounts of money actually don't find her website. And what we did is we made a 1-page website that I think cost $30 a year with my lack of technical skills and lack of design skills. She thankfully has some very nice pictures. This is what I did for my business. I didn't pay anyone. I didn't take more than 1 afternoon. And I built it myself. It was not gorgeous, but it worked and it did the job so that it held the place, moved on. And one of the reasons that these things get people stuck is that they take so much mental energy from people. They spend, and you mentioned like niches and all this stuff. People overthink these things so much, waiting for clarity. They will spend 9, 10, 12 weeks building a website when they don't know their messaging, they don't know their ideal client, and they barely have a brand. And guess what happens? When you start working with clients and you get clarity on those things, because you cannot get clarity on who you want to work with until you actually work with people. When you actually get that clarity, you change it. And now you've got to go back and change your funnel and change your website and change all these things, when if you had just started in the right order, you wouldn't have to do that. So just know that these things, one of the reasons they keep people stuck is because they are points of pause. They are points of just, no, I can't move forward without this. And 190,000%, yes, you can move forward without it. So the next thing that people get stuck on, and this is, it is the world we live in. It is much more pervasive now than, when Kelly started. There, you can literally like freebie yourself to death. You can watch every video, download every PDF, try every new shiny tactic. And I know marketing is my thing. It's my jam. It's what I love. I understand that all of these things sound amazing. The problem is that people don't actually commit to building consistency with any one strategy. People don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And so when you're starting your business, while everyone on the internet is telling you this is the way to build, you have got to develop the discernment to say that might work, but not in this season, not now. And I have to focus on the actual things that will move the needle forward before I can add anything else in. What happens is you're online because you're Googling, because I've been there and I've done that. And I've met a few entrepreneurs, and you're Googling how to grow on LinkedIn. And so then you find 25,000 people telling you how to grow on LinkedIn. They all have different strategies. They all have different approaches. You are going to download everybody's free guide or workshop, and you will implement 1/10 of all of those things and get nowhere. So then you think, well, LinkedIn must not work. Let me try Instagram. And then you do the same thing on Instagram. And guess what? The same thing happens. And then on Instagram, you're like, well, this is ridiculous. And Instagram will absolutely make even the most experienced people lose their mind. So you're like, well, TikTok is where everyone is. So you go to TikTok and you do this over and over. Then you've got to build your email list, because if you don't build an email list, then you will surely die in business. So you have to build the email list. And you do this cycle over and over and over again. You never fully implement anything. You don't really understand why you're doing what you're doing on these platforms. And then what happens? You feel like something's wrong with you. Like you just don't get it. Like this isn't meant for you. And so this is where so many people quit. Here's the deal. You don't need a new strategy every week. You don't need 8 billion things working all at once. In fact, you can grow your business to multiple 6 figures with an email account. Like that's what, like your personal Gmail. I'm not even talking about an email list. I'm talking about your personal Gmail account. You don't need to spend your time, especially those of you who are still working full-time jobs, learning 8 billion strategies, implementing them 10%, and then moving on to the next. What you need is focus, consistency, and you need to be ruthless in what you spend your time on, which means saying no to almost all of the things and saying yes to the 2 to 3 things that will actually get results. And here's the deal. There is, like Kelly said, there's a season for everything. There will be a time to do all the things. Like I love it when a new client who doesn't have an offer, who doesn't have any messaging, who has no social media, who has no clients says, I'm going to start to get PR. And while we love PR and visibility, it's one of the core things we teach. There are maybe a few steps you should take before that. Like maybe there's something you should put in place to get some clarity. So we're not saying no to anything we're talking about. What we're saying is you need to build your foundations. And I always give this example. So I was a gymnast and I coached. I was not a very good gymnast, but I was a very good coach. And every year we would have sorry, Kelly. Kelly was a cheerleader. So every year we would have cheerleaders come into the gymnastics school, and they would always book private lessons. And they would say, I have cheer tryouts coming up in 3 weeks and I need to learn a back handspring. And we would get like hundreds of them in this 3-week period. And all of the coaches would take these privates and we'd say, okay, well, let's do an assessment. Let's see, can you do a handstand? Can you do push-ups? Can you do a bridge? Can you do a back walkover? No, but I need a back handspring in a week. Unfortunately, what we have to tell them is we can't do that. It takes gymnasts 6 months to learn it because there's like 7 foundational things that need to be in place before you can do that without breaking your neck. And we'd rather you not do that. So we're going to need more than 2 to 3 weeks. Business is the same exact way. Everyone comes into the online world, and they're like, I'm going to make $100,000 this month. And they have no foundation. And so that's what we're focusing on. Kelly's going to dive into the 3 things that will build your foundation so that you can do all the things you want to do in the future. We had some wonderful cheerleaders. They were great, but we often had people come in and it was like this crazy phenomenon. Sometimes they'd want to learn a back tuck and you're like, oh my gosh, you'll literally die if we do this right now. We need to build the foundation. So Kelly, why don't you dive into the things that will build the business foundation?
Absolutely. And let's just have a little bit of fun first, because one of the things about building your business really quickly is, number one, not taking yourself too seriously because you're going to make so many mistakes along the way. And number 2, it's raising your self-awareness. So I want you to put the word guilty in the chat right now if any one of these things that Danielle or I just mentioned that you have gotten stuck in the trap or gotten caught in the trap of. Because here's the deal. It's okay if you've made that mistake. We all make mistakes in our businesses every single day. I am guilty of that. All of us are guilty of that. So it's not a problem if you've made those mistakes up until now. I want you to put guilty in the chat right now if you know you have gotten stuck in one of those tracks. And here's the really good news. And this is what's amazing about being human. Every day is a new opportunity to raise your awareness and make different decisions that produce different outcomes, right? So if you've been guilty of that in the past, all that means is you have not exercised your full and highest potential yet as a business owner. That's amazing news. It's amazing news that you somehow landed here on this session today for whatever reason. You saw an ad, a friend told you about it, you saw one of our posts on social media. Good for you. Congratulations. You just raised your awareness and now you know how to make decisions differently after this session today. So I see a lot of guilties in the chat. Thanks for playing along with me. I can raise my hand and say I've been guilty of these things too. And before we move on, because I have a lot I want to share today, if you haven't already, I want to ask you to snap a quick screen share of you viewing this video, right? Snap a quick picture and share it on social media. If you're getting any value at all from today's session, please share it. Help another business owner to gain exposure to these lessons that we're sharing that actually can be the difference in business owners going out of business or hitting multiple 6 figures in their business in the next 90 days. So if you haven't already, do me a huge favor, snap that picture, tag me, Kelly Roach Official, or share it on Facebook. You can tag me, tag Danielle, Ceballos, but be a part of helping get this word out, because the stuff that we're teaching here can literally be the difference maker between a business going out of business and a business leaping very, very quickly from 2,000 a month to 20. And that's what we want for each and every one of you guys. Okay. So let's dig in and really talk about the only things that you actually need to do to build a multiple 6-figure business online. The really good news, and my team will absolutely verify this, as will my husband, is that I am extremely technology challenged. In fact, there is a regular conversation in my household as to whether or not I'm pretending that I can't use the remote or whether I actually really can't use the remote. Whenever the team needs me to do something new on social media, in fact, I got one of them yesterday, they're literally like sending me a Loom link with a video with a play-by-play of click here, do this there. Now, why does this matter to you and why am I sharing this to you? Because so many people get stuck in doing tactical, technology-driven things that do not matter. They steal your money, they steal your time, they distract your focus, and they prevent you from growing. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 C's today. And the 4 C's are the things that I did to build my business to $1 million while I was working full time. And they are still the top things that we do today as an 8-figure company that is currently working to pursue and take our business to 9 figures. They're the most important essentials of any service-based business, and none of them have anything to do with tech. And I promise if they did, we probably wouldn't be sitting here in this conversation today, because I wouldn't have been able to figure out how to get here with you. Okay. So number 1, it's the 4 C's. So write that down, the 4 C's. Okay. And the first step in the 4 C's is content. Content is free. Content takes no time, no technology skills, no experience, no anything. Okay. If you have a phone, which I know you do, hold your phone up right now. Everybody pick your phone up in your hand right now. If you have a phone, see, it's always sitting right by us. If you have a phone within reach right now, which half of you are probably on your phone, the other half of you have it sitting less than a foot away from you right now. What that means is you can build a multi-million-dollar business from the comfort of your own home. Okay. Now, content is the first C, because building a service-based business is all about, it's right in the name, being of service. Write it down. Building a service-based business is all about being of service. Now, I know in our instant gratification Instagram world that we live in, everyone thinks that building a business is about yachts and rented Lamborghinis. That's actually not the case. Building a business is about being of service in the world. The way that you make millions of dollars in your business is by adding extreme value to the market above and beyond what they feel like they get in return for their dollars. So the more value that you add to the market, the more money is going to flow to and through your business. Okay. So more value equals more money. I want you to write that down. Now, in the world of online business, how do we add value? We add value by producing effective and impactful content that serves. I'm going to keep repeating the word serve over and over again, because most of the people that are looking to build and grow businesses online have completely overlooked the entire premise on which businesses were built. Businesses started off with bartering, right? And in bartering, 2 things were exchanged that were perceived to have equivalent value. And it started off by exchanging maybe animals or goods or household items or whatever the case. And then this evolved into, I have a service that can add value for you, and we're going to associate a price tag with that service. So if we as business owners are not obsessed with being of service to the market, good luck making millions of dollars. No one cares. No one cares how much you want to make money online. No one cares how much you're excited to build your business. What they care about is they want to associate with, learn from, and consume from people that they believe are going to move them from where they are to where they want to be in their health, wealth, relationships, parenting, exercise, their business. You guys know all of the categories. This applies across the board. Okay. So the first and most important thing, which again, what I love about this is I'm tech challenged, but I can figure out how to do a post on social media. I'll give you guys a really funny thing. So we're going to delete those little spam comments there. But a really funny thing is you can always know when my team posts something on social versus when I do, because usually when I do, I have to use like a GIF or like a picture with no words on it because I don't know how to do anything else. But then when the team posts, they have these like beautiful branded images and they look so nice and professional. I'm the tech challenge one that it's just like a picture and some text. And you're like, oh, Kelly posted that, right? So here's the deal. What is so amazing about what we are doing with social media today and how you can build your business online is that content that converts is absolutely the core thing that is going to drive the growth and profit of your business. Now, as we progress through the sessions, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what type of content, where, how often, all of those things. All I want to give you today are the 4 C's. And then when we talk tonight and when we go into the future sessions, we'll dig deeper into exactly what this looks like. You have to have the right mindset first, because energetically, if you want people to invest in you, you need to be invested in them. And so if nothing else that you take from this session today is, I want you to think about every time someone interfaces with your brand, how are you adding such tremendous value for them for free that they're left saying, whoa, hold on a second. I got more value from that free thing that Kelly just gave me than the thing that I just paid my coach for. I'm Team Kelly. I'm switching gears. I want to be over here in this world. And that's one of the most important things that you need to focus on is consistency in your content. But more importantly, I see a lot of people that hear that they need to be creating content, and they're creating content that's simply just noise. It's not really adding value. It's not really making a difference. Content is not created equal, right? Content that converts is content that is going to drive your business forward. And the content that converts, meaning someone takes a new action, whether that means they move further in your ecosystem, they sign up for your email list, they apply for a consultation, they recommit, they buy from you directly. That is content that adds extreme value. I want you to write that down. Content that adds extreme value. Okay. So I hope that all makes sense to you. That's step number 1. Step number 2, again, no technology needed. I did this on my lunch break every single day. I would go out to my car and I would have conversations. Okay. So the second C is conversations. What are conversations with your market? Conversations are engaging on social media. They're sending outbound messages to your fans and followers. They're inviting people to participate in your live streams. They're doing connect with calls with people that are following you. They are inviting people to have a dialogue about the area that you help and adding value for them for free. This can be, engaging people on your email list or inviting people to your email list. This can be inviting people to your weekly live stream. Again, all of this for free, all of this things that you can do in the pockets of your spare time. Okay. So the second C is conversations, right? When you think about what moves people through your ecosystem, know, like, trust, buy, the first thing is know. And they're going to get to know you through your content. They're going to discover you through your content. But then you need to actually leverage human connection to build real relationships with people. And this is the most overlooked, underutilized strategy that will take you to the $1 million mark in absolute record speed that no one is teaching. And human connection is the simplest way to build your business. And it can be done through simple audio messages that you send on social media, 30-second customized videos, and just doing very basic connect calls. For me, I would record little 1 minute and 2 minute videos, and I would send them out to my full email list every single week. I would do a 2-minute tip of the week. I would post it on social media. I would do posts and I would invite people to book strategy calls with me where I would add value for them for free on a specific topic or area. And this is how I literally just move people from social media into a real dialogue, AKA conversation, which move them right along to the next step, the third key thing, which is consultations, right? If you are building a service-based business, consultations are bar none the most important make or break, do or die metric on which your business will either succeed or fail. I'm going to say that again. If you are building a service-based business, the bar none most important activity on which your business will either scale or fail online is consultations. There is nothing more important than you funneling people from content to conversation to consultation in order to grow your business to the $1 million mark and beyond online.
And Kelly, I'm going to just interrupt for those of you who are like, well, what's she talking about? This is also, people call these sales calls, strategy sessions, where you're having a sales conversation. So the initial reach out is just that connection. A consultation is like, hey, we're chatting about a sales proposition.
Absolutely. And this is the oldest strategy on the books. Like literally, if you dial the clock back, go look at the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. This has not changed. When someone comes out to your home and they're a service, whether they fix your air conditioner or they're going to do something in your yard or they're going to do work in your home, what do? They come out, they do a consultation. They might call it an assessment. They might call it a consultation. They might call it an invoice proposal, whatever. But the most basic essential thing in business is for there to be a structured sales conversation in which there's a presentation of solutions. And at the end of that presentation of solutions, someone says, yes, I am happy to pull out my credit card right now because I want that solution that you're offering. And I know you, I like you, I trust you, and I believe you're the person that can get me from point A to point B, solving my problem. Whether that's that I can't get my baby to sleep at night, whether that's I've potty trained my kids 17 times and they're still wetting the bed, whether that's my dog went to doggy boot camp and they're worse now than they were before they went, help, I don't know what to do, whether that's I've been on diets for 40 years, I can't figure out a sustainable weight loss plan that actually works for me, whether that's I've been in business for 15 years and I'm still struggling to pay the bills. I mean, I could go on and on and on. It applies across the board in any single area that you could be building an online business. And here's the thing. Of these three things that I just walked you through, content, conversations, and consultations, none of these require a funnel. None of these require expensive tech. None of these require a big team. None of these require a fancy website. None of these require a funnel. I mean, we could go down the list, but if we look back 15 minutes at the list that Danielle gave you of all the pitfalls and all the places that people lose time, they lose money, they get frustrated, they get overwhelmed, they get completely stuck in their business, all those things can completely be put on pause in your business and they'll be there when you're ready for them. But what we're talking about here with the 4 C's, and I'm going to give you the fourth one in a second. What we're talking about with the 4 C's is what's actually going to make you money. Like, how do you in 90 days or less go from 2,000 a month to 20? The key is in these things. So consistent daily consultations, conversations, and content. And starting at the very beginning, it's content that adds immense value, over the top value that gets people to take an action. All content is not created equal. We'll talk more about that in the upcoming sessions, but this is content that converts. That's number one. Number two, human connection. It is so simple. It is so easy. As I mentioned already, it is the most overlooked, underutilized strategy in business today. And it's the thing that people that are running 8 and 9 figure businesses know and understand and are utilizing as their superpower, that business owners that are struggling in the low 6 figures and can't seem to get over that hump, they're falling in the trap of over digitizing their business because they're seeing everyone with their 2 comma award and they're seeing everyone with their pitch about what they're doing with their funnel. By the way, I know a lot of those people personally, and most of them actually use a launch strategy to grow their business. They don't rely on a funnel, but they want to get that award, right? So it's really important, guys. You kind of have to raise your BS meter a little bit. I hate to say it, but like when you come into business, you have to realize that everyone is doing their best. Everyone is going to show up. And in their mind, they believe that their thing that they teach and their thing that they're proposing that you do is the best strategy because it's their job to believe that, right? So they're not being, they're not being facetious. They're not intentionally out to hurt anyone. But what you have to do is you have to get a little savvy, right? You have to put your brain earmuffs on and say, okay, I'm going to have to engage in some critical thinking here. I'm going to have to get a little bit more discerning. I think discernment is a huge thing, and kind of get a little bit more skeptical about what am I looking at? And is it realistic, for example, for me to have a funnel that converts with a product that is not yet proven? The answer is no. You can't automate something that isn't already working live. It's not going to work, right? So it's like using your common sense. Whereas when we talk about things like leveraging human connection, building relationships, adding value to the market, how many times do you see an ad that's saying, you really need to focus on serving? you really need to refocus on adding value for people, right? That's not the message that you're getting in the market. But being someone that is an 8-figure business owner, being someone that has helped multiple businesses become 8-figure businesses, I'm here to tell you that these things that no one is talking about and these things that no one is running ads and recommending that you do, the reason why is because it's easy. You can do it for free. If you notice, all of the things that I just told you need to do, there's no shiny thing for you to go invest in to do these things. Like, you can go do this right now. Like, you can get off the session with us in 5 minutes and you can go work on improving your content. And you can go back to the drawing board and think about how you're showing up online and making sure that it's really adding value and making sure that there's a CTA at the end of it, and making sure that there's intent for where you're bringing people. You can go back and you can go to every person that's in the inbox of your Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn account, and you can begin to have real conversations with real people. It costs you nothing. There is no barrier to entry for any of this. You can do it on your lunch break. You can do it while your child is napping. You can do it while you have to sit in the car waiting for pickup, right? It can fit into your life, and there's no bright, shiny thing that you need to buy in order to access the ability to use these strategies starting right now. The fourth C, just to bring it all together, and then I'll toss it back to Danielle to wrap up, and I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing tonight. CTA is call to action. So it's inviting someone to actually do something. So it's so what, now what? What they learn, what do you want them to do about it? Your so what, now what for today's session is, I want to challenge you to go take an action. Nothing. There's nothing that we talked about here today that you can't go do right now. So is it a new piece of content? Is it some messages that you're going to send? Are you going to send some audios or some personalized videos? Are you going to reach out and invite some people to come and do a consultation, right? There is literally no barrier to entry with anything that we're describing here today. This is you picking up your phone and, instead of scrolling on social, spending that time actually connecting with people in a meaningful way. The fourth C, of course, is conversions, right? It's converting people from consultations into paying customers. And so what you have to understand is, it doesn't matter if you've been in business 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, and your business keeps hitting that wall. If you focus on the 4 C's, you can go from 0 to multiple 6 figures very, very quickly, because you're cutting out all the noise, you're cutting out all the mental load and all of the distractions that actually prevent you from growing. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're out of the runnings for this. This is available to everyone, but you do need to make a mindset shift. I think a lot of times we dabble in 100 different things because it makes us feel like we're doing a lot. And what we're doing is we're actually avoiding the things that actually are going to get us to where we want to be. What Danielle and I are trying to do with these sessions is help you to understand you have to let go of those things, put those things on pause, and focus on the things that are actually going to move the needle and make you money. And then you can hire help, and then you can, pay people to do those other things for you, versus it taking all of your time, energy, and money, which actually is keeping you stuck in essence.
Yeah, and I see a couple of questions coming in. I will answer those, but a couple of things just to note. Number one, this doesn't mean that you have to spend your whole life creating content and doing these things. When Kelly started, she did it in 3 hours a day. When I started my business, I was teaching and coaching cheerleading. I had all day long. I was a writer. Like, I was literally doing the writing. So this stuff I did in probably, I don't know, 30 minutes a day, because I was at football games and basketball games. And so, this doesn't need to consume your life, but you do need to be intentionally focused on these things, right? And we are going to get more specific about how to do that in the coming sessions. We're going to walk you through exactly how to start more conversations, how to get more calls on the books. All those things are coming. So content, I have many thoughts about content and how to create it. So we're going to help you leverage the effort that you put in for maximum results. And like we said, all of the other stuff can be added. There was someone who had a question about niche and how do you find your niche? And here's a really big, and this is not just for niche, this is for a lot of people kind of, again, in that brand new to like 5K a month. you are not going to know who you want to work with until you start working with people. So I'm going to share my story. When I started my copywriting, I had a background in writing for fitness. So I don't particularly love it. It just was where I had some experience. And so I literally, with my plain old Google email, emailed everyone I knew and said, hey, I'm offering this service. Do you have a need? I got 3 people within 2 days. So I started there. I ended up building a bit of a presence online with good content, and I was attracting a lot of course creators. On paper, shared a little bit about that before, for a copywriter, that's a very, very simple place to earn lots of money. And I started earning lots of money. However, what seemed like the perfect niche, I found out I actually hated it. Like killed my soul slowly by little by little. I just didn't love it. I didn't feel like people had great products. I didn't feel like they had the ecosystem. I was really bored. It's kind of all the same thing. I would have never known that had I not gone through the process of writing for hundreds of those people. So there's all this pressure. Niche is something that keeps people stuck. We're talking about things that keep people stuck. It is 100% okay to pick something, start there, and then change your mind. Kelly, I know you started with selling sales training initially, and eventually that moved as well. You cannot gain clarity about what you want to do until you're in it doing it. So you can have all these theories. Had I just gone with what made the most sense and sounded the best financially, and that was lowest hanging fruit for me, I would have been miserable. So at the end of the day, but I wouldn't have known. I could not have known that till I was in it and doing the thing to say, okay, this really isn't what I like doing. And so I want to take some pressure off you. If you feel like you have to have this perfect niche and this exact, I love it. We'll talk about this. It makes me want to lose my actual mind, but like this avatar that like is this made up person who doesn't even exist when there's a world. I emailed people that I knew with businesses I didn't even really care a whole lot about. And I learned what people wanted by doing work for those people. And so at the end of the day, you're going to learn those things by just taking some quick action and then deciding, okay, I liked this. I didn't like this. I want to do more of this. I don't want to do more of this. I keep selling this, but people keep asking me for this. And so you can make those changes, those tweaks, those iterations as you continue to make money in the process. And you need to remove the pressure to have that totally dialed in 100% before you take action. The clarity comes as you take action. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we're at time, and I want to, give everybody the chance to go take action. I can't wait to see you on the session tonight, and we're going to build and take the next steps. And absolute do not miss. So 7:00 tonight, be here with me. Okay. But as Danielle mentioned, your niche is something that has to develop in actuality, not in theory. So if you're one of the people watching this today that's been holding you back, I am here to tell you, you're not going to figure it out until you start working with clients and until you start getting your message out there. So that's one of the things we want to help you work through and overcome this week. But be here tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, we will send out a replay to everyone. I'm sure there are some individuals that want to go back through this a second time. Thanks for being here. I hope you got tons of awesome notes. If you didn't already share it out on social, please do so now. And we'll see you back here tonight. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.